Okay, so this is for biology, chapter 11.4 notes. Okay, so 11.4 is about meiosis. We have learned about mitosis, which is the division of a cell into two identical cells, each with 46 chromosomes. We talked about the steps: interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. This is meiosis, which is similar, but a few different things we need to note about meiosis. I'm going to play this so you can watch. You can see the centrioles moving into the poles. The chromatin is condensing into the chromosome form. I see the spindle fibers start coming out. They're chromosomes. This is something different. Pause there. They actually exchange genetic material with each other right there. Okay. Here they are going to line up at the middle, just like metaphase. Okay. Instead of chromatids, or the legs of the chromosomes, being pulled apart, here we see whole chromosomes being pulled apart. Okay. And then we see the nuclear membrane reform here, right there. That's the end of what's known as meiosis 1. Okay. So here's the difference. Meiosis can be split up into meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So that's the end of meiosis 1. Now we're going to watch meiosis 2. And meiosis 2 is pretty much exactly like mitosis. So here's the end of meiosis 1 again. We have two cells. Here's the start of meiosis 2. We see prophase. Here's metaphase, and then we see anaphase, and then we see telophase here. At the end, okay, here's cytokinesis, division of the cytoplasm. We are left at the end of meiosis 1 and 2 with 4 cells that are all genetically different from each other. And inside here, we have 23 chromosomes in there, in each one. And these are the formation of the sex cells. Okay, it's meiosis. Oops. So a little review here. Mitosis, you can go ahead and draw this, starts out with one cell with 46 chromosomes, splitting into two cells that are genetically identical, each with 46 chromosomes. This is asexual reproduction. One parent cell with 46 chromosomes becomes two daughter cells, which with 46 chromosomes each. They are genetically identical. Meiosis, on the other hand, is sexual cell reproduction. Okay, starts off with one cell with 46 chromosomes that becomes 4 cells, each with 23 chromosomes. They are all genetically different. Meiosis produces the sex cells, also known as the gametes. Okay, so these are your sperm and your egg, and it happens in 2 rounds. Okay, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, and right after meiosis 1 or 2, put an arrow or something. Undo, let's make an arrow. Okay, right, POMAT. Okay, when I say meiosis 1 and 2, that means prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. During prophase 1, so the first prophase, chromosome pair with fellow homologous chromosomes. Don't worry about that word, homologous, if that confuses you. And when so here's a homologous chromosome in green. Here's another homologous chromosome in orange. They pair together to form what's called a group of 4, called a tetrad, group of 4 legs. That's what a tetrad is. If you want to draw an arrow to indicate that that, in fact, is what a tetrad looks like. Also during prophase 1 is where something called crossing over happens. Remember when we saw the parts of the chromosomes flip-flop? That's crossing over. Here's an image that depicts crossing over. Here we have homologous chromosomes here in orange and pink. I kind of compare this to leg wrestling. You wrap your leg over somebody else's leg, and then, except in leg wrestling, you don't swap boots or anything, or your calves and below. And the chromosomes, you do, in fact, exchange genetic material. What happens as a result of this? This ensures or produces new combinations of alleles, okay, that maybe possibly have never been seen before. This ensures in your sex cells genetic diversity. All right, it makes all the egg cells in your body genetically different, or sperm genetically different from one another, which is cool. So it's one of the reasons that meiosis ensures genetic diversity. Crossing over is part of that reason. At the end of one round of meiosis, that includes 1 and 2, at the end, there are 4 haploid cells. Draw an arrow, and haploid just means half. Half. I'm also right. Okay, so that means they have 23 chromosomes, half of what they started with. And all of these cells that are genetically different from each other and from the parent cell. Also write down, not a huge deal, but I don't want it to confuse you, the word diploid. You might have seen the reading, a diploid cell just means it has 46 chromosomes. So haploid is half the number of chromosomes. Diploid is complete set of chromosomes. Or in case of humans, 46. Okay, so that is meiosis in a nutshell. It ensures genetic diversity, mainly due to crossing over. We'll talk about a few other things that help with genetic diversity of sex cells. And it can be split into 2 meioses, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. We're going to model that another day, the different steps of meiosis. And it produces cells that are genetically different from one another. And that is the end of 11.4.